You picked the right place, Cole. A city that needed an honest cop like a thirsty man needed water. You'd heard the stories, but you weren't interested. You were here to fight the good fight, solve cases, right wrongs. But the force is like politics. There's no sitting on the fence. You have to choose sides. A brown paper envelope or a Greyhound ticket to Palookaville. It could only ever end one way.
All units to 211 in progress and shots fired at Westlake Savings and Loan. 1415.
.187 at 5810 Murata Avenue. Homicide wants you over there. The coroner thinks the broad was whacked using the Army morphine. Don't say anything, Roy. Just get over there.
I want to make it. I know you made it.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving up to a 45.
What's with that getup of yours anyway? I should start introducing us as Detective Earl, and this is my science teacher, Mr. Phelps.
Your interest in my appearance is starting to get me worrying.
Like it or not, we're a dysfunctional couple now. People judge me with you on my arm same way they would a fat broad with a 5 o'clock shadow.
I really hope you're joking, Roy.
Seem distracted. We recovered the morphine. Some of it might be unaccounted for, so what? That's life. We did our job.
Closing one case opens another.
Do you have any idea what is really going on while we're wasting our time following this stuff?
Are you going to tell me?
The deals being done right now will change the face of LA forever, and we're wasting our time on some hump.
Someone's little girl.
Visit the morgue at the end of the month when the John and Jane Does are cremated. Their percentages. The odds for and against lightning striking.
Second floor, apartment 6, in the back.
Thanks. Bukowski, you made homicide.
That I did. Good to see you, Phelps.
You two want a hug? Or can we get on with it?
Relax, Rusty.
26 years old, fashion model. Found in the tub by the cleaning lady, Mrs. Reynoldson. She called it in.
We heard Carruthers thinks...
Carruthers likes to make work for people. Overdose of sleeping pills, falls asleep in the tub, rest in peace, case closed.
Here, here.
Mal is 100% that it's murder.
Do you mind if I take a look around?
Sure, go right ahead.
Incidental.
Phelps?
Mal, we've had a look around. Rusty thinks it's a waste of time. What's your theory?
Come on, Mal. Tell us why we were dragged down here.
If the victim was alive when she entered the tub, water would have entered her lungs. The water is violently churned in the windpipe as she drowns. The result is that a lot of foam is generated. This foam is found at the mouth and nostrils in almost all cases of real drowning. Notice anything about our Vic?
Yeah, I took a look.
Be my guest. Take a closer look at her head and neck.
밥밥피라라.
안녕하세요. 파파베라가 뭐예요?
I could be wrong, but it looks like a black sapphire.
파파베라가 뭐야? 밥 먹고 오셨다는 거예요?
클론 노랜데요.
제목이 뭐였지? 난이었나?
The neck is bruised pretty badly. Bruising on the forearms, and these look like bite marks.
Very good. The eyes are a classic sign of morphine, and the bruises tell their own story. I think one man held her down and another held her arm and injected her. They put her in the bath to try to cover it as a drowning.
And spread a trail of barbiturates.
Take a look around outside on your way out and see if you can find the syrettes. It would make my feet.
And morphine would have been very quick, and there wouldn't have been much of a struggle.
Okay, so find two guys who recently bought syrettes and weren't junkies, and you might be onto something.
This is her in these photos? She's something else.
밥 뭐 드셨나요?
I don't think so.
Got her heart broken. Couldn't take it. So she ran herself a bath and down some pills, and then she just drifted off.
Quality English smoking jacket. I don't know anyone under 45 who would wear one.
이게 남자 옷이었어?
Looks like barbiturates.
족발덮밥.
족발덮밥? 맛있겠네. 저는 아까 탕수육 짜장면 세트 먹었거든.
Barbiturates. What else is rattling around in this thing? Beautiful girl. Clothes certainly aren't from the Sears catalog. Must have been a modeling assignment. It's a place to start.
이런 데다가 왜 적어놓는 거야, 글을?
This is all top end of town stuff. Gives us somewhere to look. I'm Detective Phelps. I'm here to try and help Julia. Do you mind answering some questions?
Virginia Reynoldson, I'm just so shocked. I feel like there's something I should be doing, someone I should call.
We can make those calls, ma'am. Who needs to be notified?
That's just it. I don't know. Miss Julie doesn't have any family in town. Someone has to set her affairs in order. Mr. Henderson, maybe? Who else is there? I don't know.
If you give the details to the other detectives, ma'am, they can try and get in contact. Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
What are you hiding here, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia was obviously disturbed about something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She was taking barbiturates. She couldn't sleep. You must have seen them in her room.
You've seen the pillbox, the things she hid in there. I don't know how she supported herself. Always new clothes and jewelry. She lived like a movie star, a princess. Does modeling really pay that well?
Did Miss Randall have many friends visit?
I'm not sure. I only come around twice a week.
Men friends, Mrs. Reynoldson. Spill it.
I will not spread gossip about Miss Julia. She was very nice to me.
I don't care if she was the Virgin Mary, sister. Who was she humping? You changed the sheets.
You're disgusting. If you're going to take that tone, I won't answer any more questions.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
아,
Do you do the housekeeping on a regular basis?
Twice a week since Miss Julie moved here from New York.
Thanks, Mrs. Reynoldson. You've been very helpful. One of the other detectives will take your statement, and then you can go home.
Back to work, Phelps. I don't like the way this broad bought it. I want to get the guys responsible.
아직 뭐가 있나 본데.
Doesn't appear to be connected.
하하하.
안녕하세요. 오늘 어디 갔다 오셨어요?
다림다림. 메모 이것저것 좀 하느라.
다 끝난 거예요?
그쵸.
그래요? 그럼 왜 안 키죠?
나 왜 이렇게 끊기지?
끊긴다고요?
오늘은 데니스님 키시는 날이니까.
안 킬 것 같은
버퍼링.
안 킬 것 같은 느낌. 저 방송 상태 괜찮은 걸로 나오는데.
저녁 전에 동숲이나 잠깐 할까 했는데
방송을 켜고 했어야죠. 길을 안 비켜서 지나갈 수가 없네.
저는 버퍼링 없어요 일단.
저도 방송 상태 괜찮은 걸로 뜨는데. 저도 지금 계속 제 방송 모니터링 하면서 하고 있는 건데 저도 안 끊기는데.
Can you drive to this one? All right, where to? You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
저도 방송한 거 풀 영상 그냥 올려놓고 있어요. 녹화해가지고.
Well, hello. What can I help you with today?
LAPD, ma'am.
I hope I haven't done anything wrong.
No, ma'am. We're making some inquiries about Julia Randall. Does she work here?
No, I had to let her go. Is she in some sort of trouble?
She was found dead this morning. How long had Julia worked as a model?
Well, she worked in New York before coming here. She was a very beautiful girl.
Could you tell us why you let Miss Randall go?
Husbands sometimes come in here with their wives. When Julia Randall modeled, the husbands were often more interested in her than they were their wives' dresses. The wives weren't happy, and neither was I.
겨우 그럼
Did she have
때문에.
any close friends here?
Actually, yes. Heather Swanson. Would you like to speak with her?
I'd like that very much. Please don't inform her about Miss Randall's death.
Very well, officer. Heather, these gentlemen are from the LAPD.
I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. I understand that you worked with Julia Randall, Miss Swanson?
Yes. Julia helped me get my job here. She's not in any kind of trouble, is she?
She's a hellraiser, isn't she? Lives a fast life.
Oh, no. Maybe Mrs. Stanley would call her that, but I wouldn't. She's full of life, wonderful company.
That's a lovely engagement ring.
Do you like it? Henry gave it to
I'm
me.
very interested in engagement rings. Do you mind if I take a closer look?
저렇게 쉽게 빼줘도 되나?
That's some pearl, Miss Swanson. Would have cost Henry a fortune. He must really love you. How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
Henry is your beau. Tell us about it.
Yes, he is. Henry has a fashion business. He and Julia have been friends for years.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
She was wearing a sapphire engagement ring. Someone must have given it to her.
She never mentioned a man named Henderson to me.
That's all for now, Miss Swanson. Could you ask your fiancé to visit Hollywood Police Station? It would be very helpful to our inquiry.
Now, wait a moment. I don't think I'll pass on that message until you tell me why you're asking all these questions.
Julia Randall was found dead this morning.
What? Oh, no. can't believe it. She was so full of life.
풍만한 거랑 죽는 거랑 무슨 상관이지? 안 들어가지네.
You can drive. Where are we going?
Nice move not telling old Sweet Lips in there about her friend taking the big jump till we were half out the door. Very slick.
I figured we'd get more out of her that way.
You're learning, Phelps. We'll make a vice cop out of you yet.
조사할 게 뭐가 더 남았나? 옆집 이런 거 조사해야 되나? 아니면 옥상에 가서 조사를 해야 되나? 이걸 써야 되겠다. 사용이 안 되지? 뭐를 안 했기 때문에 진행이 안 된다는 건데. 네 개나 남았어? 뭐지?
Optimistic, Cole. It would take a smarter man than me to connect that.
여기 뭐 없는데? 아, 이것도 있네.
We should speak to her doctor. Prescribing both drugs would make her life a roller coaster.
이건 뭐지?
Stefan, Rusty, we'll take a look around outside and then follow up these.
밖에 나가야 되나 보다.
You think Carruthers has called it right?
He rarely gets it wrong.
I don't know. I'm a Galloway. I've met
Ah.
enough girls in my time who can't handle their dope.
이거 어떻게 찾냐? 확대가 안 돼. 각도 조절 잘해야 돼.
Mal will be pleased.
Well, that's hardly conclusive.
given the number of those things we've come across recently.
The autopsy will confirm it one way or another.
I think our work is done here.
You're behind the wheel.
Do we know where we're going?
하하.
안녕하세요.
Bukowski, Galloway.
어제 소실님,
Reunion in there. Almost brought
어제
a tear to my
소실님
eye.
다른 파티에서 게임 하시던데.
How would you know?
밤에.
You got promoted so fast you barely had time to learn their names. Let me fill you in. Bukowski's a pushover. Galloway's a drunk.
You could learn a thing or two from both of them.
Please. They couldn't work a vice case if their life depended on it.
I don't see why they'd be any better or worse at it than me.
I noticed you said better. Hubris disguised as humility. Kind of your trademark, don't you think?
Why do you always twist everything? Galloway's got nothing to prove. He's been on homicide for years.
And he's welcome to it. You're a terrier, Phelps, and that's what I need. Not some old bulldog who can't get up a flight of stairs without coughing up his lunch.
내 원래 알고 있던 형님이랑 좀 하고. 껐죠.
그렇군요.
Here, Stoneman, office 505.
505. 여긴 엘리베이터가 있네.
I swear, if we locked up every doctor in this town, Vice would be able to work half days.
문이
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient. Would you like to wait?
No, we wouldn't. Tell him we want to see him now.
There's no need to be rude.
Save it, sister.
Dr. Stoneman, I have some gentlemen from the LAPD here to see you.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Dr. Stoneman, we are investigating the death of one of your patients, Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
How well did you know Ms. Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
특정인 딱 봐도 뭔가 불안해하고 있네요.
Julia Randall has been your patient for nearly a year. I'm sure of that.
Do you doubt my veracity, Detective? Do you have access to my patient records?
Your prescriptions contradict you, Doctor.
Miss Randall was in the fashion business, as you probably know. She was jumped up on Benzedrine by day and knocked down by sleeping pills at night. I told her to slow up, but no. Life was too short for her.
And you supplied the prescription for the Benzedrine.
It's not illegal, Detective. A lot of young women in her line of work use it for weight loss.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
She didn't appear to have a weight problem.
She had a self-esteem problem. Miss Randall felt her only control over her life was through her appearance.
That'll be all for now, Dr. Stoneman. We'll be in touch. Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
Messages for me, please.
Yes, Detective. The coroner's been asking to speak to you. I can connect the call if you like.
Please, thank you. Al?
Cole, can you get over here? I just finished the autopsy.
Sure thing, Mal. We'll be right over.
Hasn't given me anything to go on. I doubt it.
The old boy's lying.
About what?
I don't know. He looked relieved when you said she was dead. That's a strange reaction to have to the death of a young patient.
Have you noticed how croakers only pull out the physician-patient privilege card when they got something to hide?
There are certain things people have a right to keep private.
Until it gets in the way of police work. And it's only private when it suits them. A couple of drinks and every doctor I've met will spill your darkest secrets in a heartbeat.
Detectives Phelps and Earl here to see the coroner.
Yes, Detective. He's waiting for you in the examination room.
Goddamn Bruins are having a season from hell. Generally speaking, you aren't learning much.
Cole, Roy, I have some information for you.
You're the only person enjoying this, Mal. Get on with it.
The bruising confirms 2 sets of hands, so we have 2 killers. Death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of morphine.
Have you dragged us down here to gloat? We already heard your theory.
We agree that she was murdered.
Yes, of course.
I have something else to show you.
All right, Mal, what gives?
The dead guy's name is Jimmy LeBlanc, career burglar. He came in this morning. Someone stove his head in with a lump of 2x4.
So what? Good riddance.
I found 2 cigarettes in his jacket pocket.
Wow.
Hang on a minute, Roy. We're listening now.
No sign of morphine use and no metabolized morphine in his blood. scratch marks on his face.
Which could be from getting his head remodeled.
Time of death, Mal.
Maybe an hour or two after the Randall girl.
So you're saying Laughing Boy here could be one of our killers? That's a hell of a long shot.
Thanks, Mal. We'll check it out.
I found something else.
Sorry, I don't play.
I don't know if it's significant. His wallet was empty. The only other things he was carrying were the harmonica and the morphine. Carruthers. Yeah, he's here. I'll send him over. They have a guy called Henry Arnett in interview 2 for you next door. Let me know how you get on.
Sure, Mal. And thanks for the lead.
Sure, Mel. Thanks for the lead.
Please don't talk to my breath.
They weren't even his print, and he still confessed.
Can I have my phone call?
Mary says I'll send you, only if I guarantee you walk.
이웃실이 어디지?
Seems like a nice boy, putting all those hoodlums.
여기 있네.
Mr. Arnett, I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Burrow. Thanks for coming in.
Call me Henry. It's the least I could do. Terrible news about Julia.
Am I gonna get out of here tonight? No, sorry.
Really? That's everything you need? I have more for you, Detective. I'm sure of it.
Has anyone seen my pen?
You know anything about this mess? I ain't talking to you.
Ordner says it's going to take at least a week to get an ID.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
You left at midnight, correct?
And you were close? We were friends.
How long is this gonna take?
Miss Randall's landlady said she was seeing an older man.
Could have been. I wasn't privy to all the details of Julia's private life.
Can I see my cousin? Afraid not.
Spill it, Henry. You know nothing about a man named Henderson?
Yes, you're right. Henderson, yeah. Very distinguished.
How about a first name, wise guy? An address, maybe?
I'm sorry, I don't. I think he lives somewhere out of town. Somewhere back east.
You trying to shake me down?
Ever heard of a Jimmy LeBlanc?
No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
Do I need to fill this out? No, entiendo.
So you wouldn't have any reason to believe that LeBlanc would be involved in Julia Randall's murder?
If this guy is a criminal, he might have been involved. But like I said, I've never heard of this LeBlanc character.
Heather told us that you were in fashion.
That's right.
You were smoking a cigarette in the other room? That's correct.
Some kind of traveling salesman?
Once I got out of the Corps, I used my...
You were in the Marines?
Sure. I'm proud of it. Fighting 6th.
You were in the 6th Marines?
Yes. I was a captain.
Which company?
Various companies. We had a lot of casualties.
Which engagements?
Okinawa. A couple of other places.
That would be all for now, Henry.
No.
You've been very helpful.
That son of a bitch was never in the Marines. Why'd you let him off the hook?
Because we're giving him a couple of minutes before we start tailing him. Arnett is an amateur. We need to find out who killed the girl. Can you pass this on to Bukowski? Have him check the place out and go through his records.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Thanks. Can you also have R&I run the records on a Jimmy LeBlanc and find out who was his last arresting officer? Have them get in touch via KGPL when they have some information.
He's in that car at the lights.
squirming like a worm in there. Don't you love it when they pull the war hero excuse? Actually, maybe you don't.
Now would be a bad time to forget how to drive.
I'd have expected a cat like Annette to be a better liar.
뭐야? 사고 났는데. 뭐가 경찰차.
Where are you taking us, Henry?
That idiot never stepped foot in Okinawa.
He needs money and fast. Get in there and find out what he pawned. I'll stick with him, see how he intends to spend the money. Too much slack. Gotta get closer.
Hoof it, Phelps. I'll bring the car around when I'm done here.
That's right, Mexico City. One-way ticket, please. Next available seat.
That would be 1 day from now. Is that okay?
It's going to have to be.
LAPD, the man who just came in here, he bought a ticket?
Yes, sir. To Mexico City, tomorrow night.
If you hear from him again, don't mention this conversation.
What have you got?
He bought a ticket from Mexico City. Tomorrow night.
That's good. But this is better.
Oh my God. It's Fabergé.
Should have seen the look on the pawnbroker's face when I told him to hand it over. The guy who owned the joint thought it was worth at least 10 large for a cigarette case. Arnett only got 600 clams.
Can you drive to this one?
Fine. Where are we headed?
Car 11K, 11 King, come in.
Go ahead, KGPL.
11K, go to Hollywood Station. Homicide detectives Bukowski and Galloway have information relating to the Randall case.
Roger, KGPL. 11K, en route.
Car 11K, car 11 King, come in.
Car 11 King, go ahead.
R&I reports the last arresting officer for DOA Jimmy LeBlanc was Patrolman Fred Wallace, who's working a shift on Hollywood 9th Beat, Sunset Boulevard between Gordon and Wilcox.
Car 11K, en route.
Sir, I need the contraband list. Items stolen over the last year.
Hang on, I'll dig out a copy for you. Here you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving up to
Is the cigarette case on there?
I want to stop him with one round.
Well, are there any leads?
Are you gonna let me go?
시가렛 케이스.
It's here. Arnett must be out of his mind trying to move this while under a murder cloud.
This is 1947, not 1927. Of course a girl can ask a fella out.
Now you want me to lie.
Can you bring me the file? Afraid not. Can you get me a coffee?
I ain't talking to you.
The canary says he'll sing, but only if I guarantee you why.
Got any newspapers to read while awake?
So I just spill my guts.
You drive.
Can I cut
I
out
need to
here?
go over the case notes.
But your lips deny
Come on, let's give him a hand.
Right behind you, Wallace. Detective Phelps.
Wallace, go left. I'm going right after this little prick in the alley.
Give me some.
I'm gonna put holes in you, asshole.
Find some cover.
Your move, mister. Come get me.
Push forward.
키키키의 산도 이거 아직도 인생 못 봤어요? 키키.
아직 오래 걸리는 게임이라서.
I'm wide open here. Stay down.
You know the way. You can drive.
All right, where to?
You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
Where are we going? You're suggesting LeBlanc is still working with Willie?
A strong man held down Randall while someone administered morphine. Someone with muscle opened up LeBlanc's skull. Could be.
What's that? That's the lemon wash with... Swish of the visual.
Nice house.
LAPD, ma'am. Is Mrs. Eavestrom in?
She is. Would you follow me, sir?
I am Mrs. Eavestrom. How may I help you?
We appear to have recovered some stolen goods that belong to you, ma'am.
Yes, of course. That terrible burglary. Would you like something to drink?
No, thank you, ma'am. We have some questions, if you don't mind.
Why would I mind, young man, if you are returning 43 pieces of my property?
Okay, before we get down to that, I'll have a scotch. Thanks, straight up.
Maria, can you get the detective a drink, please?
Can you describe to us what was stolen?
It would be easier to describe what wasn't stolen, detective. A priceless tiara that has been in the family for 50 years. A Fabergé cigarette case that was worth $25,000.
Why are you lying about the value of your jewelry, Mrs. Eavestrom?
Who do you think you are, making heinous accusations in my own home?
We recovered the cigarette case from a pawnbroker. No one knows the real value of an item better than those guys.
I inflated its value for the insurance claim. There. Are you satisfied? My daughter's boyfriend was quite taken with the case. I think he was even more disappointed than I was when it was stolen.
What can you tell us about the burglary?
That terrible night, at least a year ago. But let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you've recovered.
I think you know more about this burglary than you were letting on, Mrs. Eavestrom. There isn't an insurance claim involved, is there?
Are you accusing me of having my own home burgled? How dare you? What possible proof do you have for this scandalous remark? I would appreciate it if your friend finished his drink and the two of you left.
That's about it for now, Mrs. Eavestrom. The department will get in touch and let you know how you can recover your valuables.
You have only mentioned a few of the items that have been stolen, Detective. What else has been recovered?
You see, Phelps? That's why you get the drinks in early.
Hello, Mother. Hello, detectives. What is going on?
We'd like to ask exactly the same question.
You have met my daughter?
This morning at work. Oh, Mother and Father divorced. I took my father's name.
The detectives recovered some of the things that were stolen, darling.
Well, what did you find?
A sapphire ring. on the corpse of Julia Randall.
What are you talking about?
Your engagement ring, Miss Swanson. Would you be surprised to know that it was part of the proceeds of a burglary?
That's an outrageous allegation.
Yes, it is. I suggest we go straight to Henry Arnett's place and sort this mess out.